Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to another live session with the Hype Magazine. I'm your editor-in-chief, Jerry Doty, and today I've got an amazing guest with me by the name of Anastasia Washington. She is a comedian, a producer, a podcaster, a curvy model, and she identifies in the culturally ambiguous realm of something that's kind of new to me. She's only the second person I've ever heard of discuss it. And we talk about it as being too dark for the white kids to play with, too light for the black kids to play with. And we're kind of on our own. And so books kind of become our home or some sort of other creative outlet. So thanks for being with us, Anastasia.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
It's so amazing. Isn't it crazy that we have to talk about this in 2021? Colorism and things like that.
It is. It's crazy. It's crazy that not I mean, things have changed, but obviously, but not to the degree that we're not still having these conversations, obviously.
It's really sad. It's really sad. Yeah. So look, for those of us beginning to meet you, I know we've seen you in Die Hard 2, and you hosted like Comic-Con in San Diego and LA and things like that. But from the outside looking in, talk to us about Anastasia Washington.
Oh, okay. Well, I am a biracial comedian, filmmaker, creator, general multi-hyphen, who started acting very young. I started acting and doing soundtrack work as a child. And never stopped, just, did whatever I could to survive in this industry. And that meant taking on different hats, never stopping learning a different skill and going, oh, well, you need that? I can figure out how to do that. That's what Google's for.
YouTube, yes.
Exactly. I mean, I remember like when I first started getting into voiceovers and audiobooks and people were like, well, you need a reel. And I was like, well, how do I make one? And I just figured it out, and now like, sometimes I help my friends out when they're, low on cash. I'm like, I'll do it for you. Let's just do it, because it's just like, we all have to be there for each other. We all have to learn. We can't be above learning a new skill or above, adapting in this industry. We just really, and then life, in general, got to roll with what it's going to look like for you to succeed in this industry. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's me, adaptable, ethnically ambiguous, as some people tell me. I get the what are you a lot. I mean, I usually tell people I'm biracial or that I'm Black Irish, because then people look at me really weird and they're like, what? And I'm like Black and Irish, not like Black Irish. Just to confuse them. But I think a lot of people that, are like not, well, nobody's really pure anything anymore. We're all kind of a melting pot, right? But the biracial and mixed kids, we always get that question, what are you? And I think we're labeled in the industry as ethnically ambiguous. So I just kind of leaned into it and made myself like an ethnically ambiguous lead type merchandise, because I was like, at least I could be the lead.
I've used that Black Irish title my entire life. So I understand where you're coming from. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Understand where you come from. But it gives you a unique place within the entertainment industry, because you can flip-flop between different roles. And strangely enough, that is starting to become a bigger market within the entertainment industry. As people decide, well, we don't want to offend this person, we don't want to offend that person, so we'll just get somebody who's in the middle.
Yeah.
So talk to me about how you feel about that, and why do you think it's coming to this point?
Well, I think, honestly, the industry is being held accountable for like not being as diverse, right? And I think, unfortunately, the way of being diverse back in the day was to find somebody that kind of was like ambiguously something, right? And put them as the best friend or something like that. And going, look, we have diversity. What are they? You guess, like, but we're doing it, and I think it was progress in a way. But being light skinned, I know that I was the default for diversity and still sometimes am. And I know that that is a privilege. But I also know that I don't get to play the roles of my nationality or my race as much as just something like ambiguous in the background. And I think what is changing is that we're seeing leads be ethnically ambiguous and we're seeing leads of color. I think colorism is still in play in a lot of things. And I hope that that changes. Discuss it a lot in my filmmaking, a lot, and I am not I am not light on myself either about being light skinned and my privileges and disadvantages of being light skinned. Right. Because there are things that I don't think we've discussed in media a lot, about like, being a light skinned woman, how when I present myself, when I go in a room, I have to code switch a lot and I have to have some humbleness because of the history of our people. Right. And the advantages that I don't necessarily have, but historically have had, and how that affects the darker skinned, people in my life and how they can look at me with some, resentment. It's not something I can like ever do, it's not something I chose or something I, I can change about me, but I do have to acknowledge that. Okay. That also puts me as a disadvantage because I know when I walk in a room, people are going to resent me just for being me. But at the same time, right. I have to acknowledge it. I have to acknowledge the privilege. And I think those are the discussions that really need to be had between us and as a community, and also in media. Like, these are discussions that we haven't had, like we've kind of shown colorism a little bit, but we've shown it to such weird extremes, and there's a lot of nuance in there. And so I've really tried to explore it in my filmmaking and my work and my writing, because I think we have to be honest with each other if we want to make big changes, and if we expect Hollywood to make changes as well. We kind of have to be like, okay, that this is how it is. This is how our experience is, but yeah, it's very complicated issue.
Complicated issue and you've been very PC with it. We're gonna kick this table over like Jesus. Okay. You're talking about colorism within the Black community. This racism is harsher within the Black community than it is on white on Black or white on Asian. Black people think high yellow people have the privilege because they were the house Negroes or whatever, and served directly under the master within the household, while the darker skinned people were the field hands. So there's a resentment that is hundreds of years old against lighter skinned people.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I had this nickname in high school. We'll make it polite. There was a group of guys that used to call me PN, pleasure nigga. Wow. Because they wanted to remind me that is my place, right? I remember I wrote this in a script recently, and I had it in a script, like a reading, and some guy was like, well, that's at least a compliment. And I was like, no, it's not. And this is why history needs to really talk about the nuances of this kind of stuff, because it isn't a compliment. Just because I would be a mistress, that is not a compliment. Like, it sucks. Like, that sucks. But these are the things. but these are things that are still in play in people's minds.
Yeah.
And to say that we're not, like to say that like things have changed so much and it's not, but it's all of it, it's ingrained in us, you know. And yeah, I mean, I being light skinned, like it's been a thing in my family too, you know, like there's lots of jokes that are made. There's a lot of you know, I make a stand-up joke about my grandmother who had some very colorful things to say about my skin, and like I make it funny and I laugh about it, but it's true. It's, you know, we're kind of the blunt end of the joke. But again, I have to acknowledge the fact that this is a trauma that's ingrained in us as a people. And I don't know how to change it without having conversations. I don't know how to change it without acknowledging that it is this way. And that's hard. And I hope through putting it in my stand-up, through putting it in my filmmaking, that those start conversations within families, because I think there's a lot of families that need to have these conversations. I mean, mine, you know, as well. You know, like I think when I had a lot of my family members watch my one woman show, they were like, "Wow, we didn't know you felt like that," or "Did we say those things?" And I was like, "Yeah, these are direct quotes, dude." You know. But I think, yeah. I was just go ahead.
Nope, you.
Oh, I was just saying that I think sometimes we have to have somebody else point out some of our actions. And nothing like art to show that, huh?
So, I mean, what was it like putting that one woman show together and addressing these types of issues? I mean, not only did you address the colorism part, but, you know, the sexual abuse and police brutality. What was your process, and what did you feel as you were revisiting these issues?
Oh, I mean, there were days that it was very hard when I was writing it. I'm not gonna lie, you know. There was days that I was like, I gotta put this down because stuff bubbled up, you know, like stuff I didn't even know that I felt about certain things, you know, like, oh, this happened to me, and then it like kind of was like, oh, and that's why I do such and such and such. I didn't, you know, like, or that's why I react to this and that this way. I had no idea, you know, like it was like a realization, like my obsession with cake. I had no idea why I had this obsession with cake. I did. Like, I get anxious when I go to an event and if I don't get a slice of cake. Had no idea that it came from a traumatic experience I had when I was a kid. No clue until I started writing this. And then when people watched my show, they started sending me slices of cake and like gift certificates, you know, to like bakeries and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, they saw it before I even saw it. Like it was just, there's so many realizations that I came to. And I think it really helped me heal a lot of some of that stuff. I mean, some of it I was like, well, I wasn't ready to quite deal with that, but it's out. Like, I guess we're discussing it, you know, it came out, you know. And I think it was very nerve-wracking to think that, like, as much as I was like, I want my family to support me and watch it, I was like, oh my God, my family is supporting me and watching it. Oh no. I was like, I feel very mixed feelings about this, you know? And then like coming back from the theater and having my family like going, because they weren't allowed to be in the audience because it was COVID, so they had to watch it streamed. So I came back and they were all at my house like watching it on the stream, and I was just like, how are we doing?
You're gonna kick me out of my own spot.
Yeah, I'm like, should I come back to my home? My welcome in my family? No, it wasn't that bad, but they were very silent. They were like, wow, we really thought, you know, because you're a comedian, it was going to be super, super funny. And it was, but it also hit like a lot of stuff and feelings. And I was like, yeah, that's the point.
It's amazing how comedy strips away the veneer of reality, and you get to the raw wood, and you just have to deal with those scratches.
Yeah.
You're not protected. I
Yeah.
love that, about the art of comedy.
Same.
The way that you guys bring those things and smack us in the face with those issues. And
yeah,
I think that it's important to do that. So what's been the craziest, and I'm just going to say it like this is not made for children.
Okay.
What's been the craziest WTF moment thus far in your career?
My career. Okay. Well, I mean, I tell it in my stand-up a little bit, but I've had some very weird interactions with celebrities. And I have this habit of accidentally either being run like hit by a celebrity or running into a celebrity, because I guess I just don't pay attention. So I think one of the most what the fuck moments was there was this TV show when I was a kid called Picket Fences, and I used to be like a series regular on it, and I would do like soundtrack work and stuff like that. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere, but anyway, it's whatever. So we were going from a sound stage to another sound stage, and as I'm walking to the sound stage, they're leading us all kids, and I'm just like, looking around, being like the goofy kid I am, hanging out, and this car goes around the corner and just bumps me, stops but bumps me, right? And I go, oh, and I fall, and my mom's like, oh my God, you hit my child. And Jonathan Brandis comes out of the car and he's like, I'm so sorry. And I was like, it's fine, I am fine. My mom's like, I'm gonna kill you, blah, blah. I was like, no, it's Jonathan Brandis. He's from Sequest. He talks to dolphins. Please don't yell at him, Mom. I love him. Like, he's from Neverending Story too. No. I was just like, my mom's like, I don't care, I'm gonna kill him. And I was like, no, I'm fine. It's just like weird stuff like that, being on set and just like and I finished the day. I was fine. Everything's fine. It was like literally nothing was wrong. But I just remember my mom being so mad, and I was just so starstruck. I was just like, no, you cannot ruin my life like
Leave him alone.
No, I know I'm like 7, but I'm trying to get some game going on.
Oh, wow. You're not ready to hear that. Not ready to hear that one. I am dealing with a 14-year-old who's trying to get some game going on.
Oh, ooh.
I ain't trying to hear it.
No. Kids don't have any game. So
no game.
No game.
What's the most satisfying for you about being a creator? I mean, being behind the camera as well as in front of the camera. Your career path is so diverse. What's the most satisfying for you? What portion of it is the most satisfying?
I think the most satisfying for me, like for comedy, is definitely when people come up to me after, and I've gotten quite a few people going, I'm mixed, and I have never like had people say the stuff that you've said, and like I feel this, and it's like it really hits home, and you're hilarious, and I feel seen, and I'm like, yes, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the best compliment I can get. Because for a long time, I was afraid to say some of the stuff that I felt as a mixed woman, like I was like, who am I to say any of these things when my journey isn't as bad as such and such, but my journey is my journey.
Right.
And I've had my own stuff to deal with, and it has not always been positive. And I have the right to my pain and to share it and to laugh about it and to get over it. Whatever way I can. I had to learn that. Like, I had to stop apologizing. Like, when I came into a room for being light skinned, it was really hard. I still sometimes think I do it a little bit. Like, I still go, I'm sorry. But at the same time, like, at least now I can have those conversations and be honest about it. And say how it feels to apologize for existing, like right off the bat. So I think when I started exploring that on stage and then started exploring it in film and writing. It was scary as hell. But to hear people go, I feel that way. Thank you for saying something. I mean, that's the ultimate. Like, you know, you don't feel so alone. You feel like you're doing you're making other people not feel so alone too. And also hopefully starting conversations within families and relationships about it. Hopefully, you know. And I think so. I think that's how we start changing that. Hopefully.
Do you remember the moment that kind of finally exploded out of you? Like, damn it, I'm tired of apologizing for existing. I'm tired of apologizing for being who I am. I'm a person of circumstance. Not this is not something that I created. This is just who I am. And you finally were able to speak out about it because it's scary to step out.
Yeah. But, oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I think it wasn't that long ago. It was a few years ago. You know, I would write about stuff like this, and like maybe I would make a short film, but I wouldn't put it in my comedy because it felt too close, you know, and too like exposed, because like literally it's just you up there with a microphone and then somebody can comment directly after, you know, on your show, or even heckle you, you know. But I think, you know, a couple of years before the pandemic started, I started going to like these events and started hearing people talk about like Black Lives Matter and some of this other stuff from a white perspective. And I realized, you know, I was speaking up for my community. And then, you know, I was at this book club and this white woman told me that I had some issues with my identity and that I should read this book because it would really help me. And I think when I realized that people would have the audacity to tell me how I should feel about my own experience, I was like, oh no, I need to tell people my experience from my perspective, not to tell, you know, have some person that has no clue of my experience to tell me they read a book and therefore they know more about my experience. Like, I think that was the moment I was like, oh, I really need to talk about this, because if she thinks that she knows more about me than I do, I need to start talking, you know, and I need to start putting in my comedy. And I had to stop caring about how many people might hate me for saying stuff. I just had to. And if people do hate me, for saying something, I wish they would talk to me, because I would love to talk about it, because I think I'm open to the conversation. I'm open to being empathetic and hearing your side, as long as you're chill. Okay. You're not chill. I don't know. It depends on how many mimosas I've had. Are we at brunch? I might not be that. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm chill. I'm chill.
I'm not gonna lie. My fuse is very short, and I just let them have it. I think at 58, I've had just about enough of everybody and everything, and so
that's valid.
If I have an inkling of an idea or a feeling, if my gut just says they just shaded you, or they just tried to talk down to you or become condescending, I'm kind of classy with it, but at the same time, they get my point.
Yeah, I get it. I like being nuanced and trying to, like, I don't know, maybe this is a people pleaser in me. I'm like, how can we make this work? How can we make each other, you know, understand each other and make, like, have maybe, like, at the end of this we could be friends. Like, that's my silliness, you know. I'm like, yes. Oh, okay, let's figure out how we can be friends. Oh, you hate everything about me? Let's figure it out. Wow. You know, like, I think there's something very people pleasing about growing up in this industry too. Like, you're just like, how can I, you know, win you over? Which is probably a whole nother psychological thing that we could probably go into. But at the same time, it's just, I just want to spread joy and knowledge and hopefully, like, get people to get along better. It's been a thing since I was a kid. Like, when my family would, like, you know, get in big fights, I would start tap dancing or running around in a circle singing. You know, that was me as a kid. I would just be like, let's all be happy. Everyone calm down.
Wow. Well, you've been the mediator, the peacemaker, and all that good stuff, but some things you can't bury, and you
No, it's true.
address. Besides colorism, and what are you?
Mm.
The he said, she said. Sure,
Mm.
that's where you address the sexual assault issues, which are starting to become more news items now.
Yeah.
Tackling that issue, what kind of fallout did you have when you created that piece?
You know, surprisingly, I got a lot of not positive feedback from men because they wanted like a mustache twirling villain, like who's so evil. And the point of he said, she said, for me, was to show sexual assault from two sides, and to make it a gray area, because I think sometimes it is a gray area. What we perceive as is what a guy sometimes perceives as I got the go is not necessarily what the woman perceives. And so that's what it was supposed to be about. It wasn't supposed to be about like this guy who's a rapist, right? This is a guy that didn't read signals. And you see it from his perspective, then you turn it around and you see it from her perspective. And hopefully what the point of it was to start a conversation about what is consent and what is speaking up for yourself. Like, I feel like a lot of women have been in situations, I know I've been in situations where we didn't feel safe to speak up, and then put ourselves in situations or couldn't get out of situations because of that. And so that was what it really was supposed to be about. And most guys had a problem with that because they were like, well, I could never be in a situation like that. And I was like, well, the point is that we can't all be in those kind of situations if we don't read each other. And we also can't be expected to read each other. We have to communicate better. We have to talk to each other and make sure each other is okay, and that this is okay. And I mean, as unromantic as that could be sometimes, it's just the reality of it, you know. Your experience and could be completely different than somebody else's experience in the same experience. And that is what it's about. And so the biggest fallback I had was guys just going, no, I could never be in a situation like that. And I was like, I'm gonna be honest with you. You probably have then. Like I'm gonna say, you know, like I'm gonna be honest. I'm sure.
You know,
and you probably didn't mean to, you know, but it's
not
unfortunate.
But I had a moronic moment, you know, in my life.
Yeah, everyone has.
The girl says, if I wanted you, you wouldn't have to wonder. I'd be all over you, you know. You know, so I just I learned from that, and I'm glad that she felt safe enough and trusted
to say something.
Because, you know, I was being an asshole and didn't even realize I was being an asshole. So
I think everyone has had moments where they've overstepped or they've not read cues. And I think the important part is to be able to have the discussion about what a cue is, and maybe to mess up and go, oh damn, I messed up. And like, how do I not mess up? Like, that's the thing. Like, we have to be a little bit more forgiving of being able to grow and learn. I think we become so defensive that we don't move on because we were like, nah, I never did that. And I'm like, well, if you just said you did it, you probably could not do it again. You know, hopefully.
And take the opportunity to learn and listen.
Exactly. Which was at the point of the film. What was the point of the film? But you know, a lot of people, yeah.
I want to respect your time. I mean, I could talk to you forever, and I hope that I'll be able for you to come back.
I would love that.
I would absolutely love it. What's coming up for 2022 for Anastasia?
Ooh, 2022. Well, the documentary I did, Free to Be, is doing more festivals. my podcasts are relaunched. A couple of my podcasts are relaunching new seasons, more comedy. I'm doing a lot more shows coming up in November and December, and hopefully bigger and better shows in 2022. And just more shorts and features and stuff I'm shopping around. And I mean, now that the world's opening up a little bit more, hopefully a lot more content.
Was there anything you wanted to cover that I may have neglected?
Oh, you know what? If you guys are into meditations, I'm doing some comedy meditations on any of your podcast platforms. If you look Anastasia Washington or Anastasia TV, I did 2 comedic meditations, and hopefully I'm producing more this month. So they'll be out, and laugh and chill out. That's the point of them.
And lastly, I guess, where can we find you online?
Oh, you can find me at Anastasia W on Twitter and TikTok, at Anastasia Wash on Instagram, and Anastasia TV on YouTube.
Okay. Hey, look, I really want to thank you for the time. I really mean it. I would love to have you back. It was great conversation, and time just flew.
Same, yeah. I loved it.
40 minutes in, and I feel like we just got started with the conversation, and you turned it from an interview into a conversation. So I thank you very much. You're very, very, very skillful at the conversation topic. So I had a great time. I'm looking forward to more.
Me too.
I'm wishing you much continued success, and look forward to talking to you again. All right.
Same. Have a good day. Keep warm.
Anastasia Washington, go check her out. She's an amazing person. She's got a large platform, and she is bravely addressing items that many refuse to touch on because they're just too scared and want to fit in so badly. So thank you for your leadership and standing up for us. Light-skinned people all the way. All right, and we are out.
Thank you.